Hello, black man. This guided journal is being made available to build character, confidence, and define the inner person.
It has been deemed clear that our culture and our past has hindered black men from being open and vulnerable. Hello, black man.
Hello, black man.
What you gonna do when it's accidental? What you gonna call the things off the floor? Tell me what you gonna do when you lose the most weight? What you gonna smile and try to fluff your face? Hey, Lord, is there? I'll let Jamie introduce the show, but I figured I should come on first just because, mental health is something that's very serious and it's near and dear to us in many ways. This show is dedicated to Curia McClellan. She was the young lady who walked out of Murray High School a couple months ago and jumped off the bridge. We forever want to have her memory in the forefront because it's just a eye-opening ideology that what we deal with every day as adults, children are now dealing with it too, and it's even more so, vocal. They're more so open, like more kids to me. I don't know because the world has opened up so much in the last 15 years that maybe kids were killing themselves back then, but we didn't know it. But now I've seen so many children under 18, under 16 committing suicide, and it's a damper to me. And today I watched the episode of the Red Table Talk with the mother of the Miss USA that killed herself. And I just saw so much hate and so much bullying that was directed toward her after she won Miss America because she was like almost 30 years old. Like she was the oldest Miss America. And it is social media has made people have so much access to us and to others that it creates such a portal for just depression, for anxiety, for things that we don't want to deal with every day. So tonight I want to bring on, of course, my partner in crime, my best friend, but we also have a special guest that we're going to bring on later. And let's ask him how he feels about mental health and how his day was. Hey, hey, hey.
What's going on, beautiful?
I'm still getting used to it.
What are you? What, I mean, come on now. You can't take no. You can't take no.
I'm
You
working
can't take
on it.
that.
I'm working on it. I said I'm working on it. I said thank you. I didn't say who you talking to. Shut up, boy. You so dumb. I said thank you.
You said it with your face. You said it with your face.
And tonight we're discussing mental health. Tell us all about mental health and how you feel about mental health and what it means to you.
So, mental health is one of those things that's becoming more. I don't want to use the word popular, but it's more present, right? And so, when things become more present, you can see a shift in I don't want, I guess, the intentions behind saying you have a mental health problem, right? Because you got some people, like Lake made a great statement today about, is everything mental health, right? Is, every time somebody does something, does it mean that they have a mental problem, right? It seems to be a go-to cop out for a lot of things, right? But it doesn't make it not a factor, right? When people make decisions, there are certain things driving that decision, and it's all mental. Like every decision you make is you're making mental choices. And some people can make and rationalize certain things and say, hey, if I make these choices, these are the presumed outcomes. And some people don't know. People, they can't differentiate. So there's levels to it. That's what I would say. Some people know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
Yeah,
that whole song. But because they know exactly what they're doing, does that not still signify mental health? So we
it
have
does.
a very special guest here tonight who is a mental health guru. And before I start talking about my history and how I suffer from mental health and how mental health, I am surrounded by mental health issues, we're going to bring her on because she is near and dear to us in many ways. We love her so much. She is beautiful. She is gorgeous. She is all things great. I know she over there like, girl, stop talking like I was when he said beautiful. Like, whatever, who you talking to? But without further ado, we want to bring on Jacqueline McGrew, our sister, my sister in love, his sister in biology. Hey,
Hello, hello, hello.
how are you? Thank you for joining us tonight and being a part of this amazing series that we're going to do on mental health and mental health awareness.
I am well, and like you, I am working on receiving compliments.
I
It's
know
it's
it's a
hard to do.
struggle.
It's like,
It's a struggle.
yeah, it's like, you know,
Yeah, and it's
some
a
people
struggle.
take it and just soak it up, and I'm like,
I
oh hush.
know.
But
So it's a struggle for me because, okay, so I'm dark skinned and I hate the whole colorism thing. But when I was growing up, dark skin, nappy hair was not where it was at. We've talked about this before. So, like, my grandmother, for the first time ever the other day, told me that she thought I was beautiful. And it did everything for me. Like, when I was a kid, she used to say crazy stuff to me. And let's be clear, my grandmother is dark than I
yeah,
am. But there was still a more observance or more there was more fondness of the lighter skinned kids with the prettier hair. So it was like, oh, oh, they so pretty, they so cute because they light skin, they got pretty hair. So it was something that I grew up just kind of like internalizing and trying to find out like where was my beauty, like what made me beautiful. Like sometimes people like, you cute for a dark skinned girl, but like what does that mean? So there was a lot of childhood trauma that I faced just under colorism. But not only that, I also suffer from anxiety. I suffer from anxiety and I suffer from seasonal depression, and this is something that I have been diagnosed with medically, not something that I'm just telling myself. I have
absolutely.
very bad anxiety. Like, we won't get too personal about our relationship, but the first time Jamie and I kind of hooked up, like he had to calm me down because I was like literally like I was hyperventilating. I had to throw up. Like he was like, "What you need? You need a Sprite? You need a Coke?" I was like, "I don't know." Like I was dying, and it's like this was our initial meeting. Like this was the first time he was actually getting to know me in a personal setting. So I was like, this guy's gonna hate me. He had no idea what to do. And I finally just had to leave. But throughout our courtship, throughout our relationship, I've been the same way. There have been moments where that the pressure has built up on me, and I've just been like, I'm dying.
Anxiety is real. It is real, and people don't realize how it affects you, you know.
Yes, I have been
I
to the
cannot add
hospital.
2 plus 2. If I get anxious about something, my brain I might as well just throw it out the window. I can't add 2 plus 2 if I mess around and get frustrated about
Oh
something. It's
no,
like,
there
I
way.
got to calm my butt down.
I'll be
Absolutely. I know what you mean.
I don't think I can't speak for myself. I'll let him speak on the behalf of just me being in attack mode. I don't think that I'm necessarily in attack mode. I think I'm more emotional. I'm more just I just have to get myself together, and it takes me a while. Sometimes I have to shut down for at least half a day. But mentally, I have to work myself up to just being who I need to be because I know I got kids who are dependent on me. I know I got
Absolutely.
him who needs me to be where I need to be and do what I need to do. I got, one morning I had to go and speak at an event and I died. Like I don't even know how I got there. Like I was just like I had to call him on the phone. I was like, I can't see. I'm literally about to wreck. He's like, well, why didn't you get somebody to drive you? I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm just having a bad day, and people don't realize, like, yes, I smile every day. I'm out here, I'm hugging, I'm talking, I'm being excitable, but I suffer from severe anxiety, and it is debilitating some days. So, I just wanted to share my story and my mental health, woes, to let people know that if you're out there and you have these issues, you're not alone. There are people just like you who are going through the same things. But I will turn it over to the professional so you can talk about what's going on.
Absolutely.
Tell us more. Tell us all about, your walks of life and what you do with mental health. And my shirt says never give up for anybody who's out there.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Well, I will say that I haven't practiced it out, so I'm going. Jamie is gonna love this. I'm just gonna fly by the seat of my pants, but and I'll see how this works out. But I'm usually one that preps and write out a little outline and all of that. So I don't have any of that today. But my walk with mental health started when I retired from the Air Force. And when after 20 years of being in the service, I did what Uncle Sam told me that I had to do. That was the job they assigned me. And I tried cross training, but that didn't work. So when I retired, I figured out what I want to do when I grow up. So I ended up going back to school, working on my master's in social work. And so I retired in 2010, and in 2012, I went, I graduated from the University of Alabama. And so I started to realize in the military toward the end of my military career that I just loved everything about counseling and helping people. And so when I did a tour in Iraq in 2008, I did a 6-month tour. And when I came back, I had a lot of anxiety, and I just had a hard time adjusting and getting back to driving and normal life. And so the military have this protocol that you go and you talk to a mental health counselor when you get back. That's part of your debrief. And so I went and I sat down and I talked to the counselor, and she was so understanding. And she helped me. She listened to me, and she empowered me. She instilled hope. And I sat there and I looked at her across her desk, and I was like, I think this is what I want to be when I grow up. And so, and that's how it all started. And went to the VA and worked in the VA for a little while. Then worked in foster care for a little while. And I've been trained in trauma therapy, and I just enjoy it. I've worked with a lot of children in foster care who have been some sexually abused, some physically abused, some neglect, medical neglect, emotional neglect, and you name it. I have seen it, and I've had so many success stories with, seeing a positive impact with the children, just listening to them and saying, I hear you, I understand you, you are not alone. And that in itself empowers the child, instills hope, and it does a world of good for me. So that's kind of how, that's just a quick snippet of how I began, my, practice in the mental health field. I still have some goals that I'm working on, but I have accomplished a lot. I have a lot behind me, and I have one more big goal that I'm working on, but in due time. Now, did I answer that?
I thought Jamie was reaching for his mic. I thought he wanted
nothing. Listen, first of all, so proud of you, Jackie, of your accomplishments and things you've done, and to see the drive continue to excel, right? Because sometimes people don't understand you've had a full career. I mean, you've had a real full career already. Like you're retired, and like you're starting a new profession, and then most people after they retire, it's all down here, it's all laid back, nothing else. And here you are ramping up, learning books after learning, after highlighters, after circling pages, after notes on the side. And you're doing things to impact, what I'm saying, your community and people around you. So first of all, I'm just so proud of what you're doing and how you're taking it on, because you don't have to, right? You're doing something you don't have to do. And knowing, what you know about yourself, and working on you, and knowing that other people need work also. So I just think it's a phenomenal thing that you're doing, basically taking out your time to help, to help others that have these that have mental health issues.
Yeah.
Like for me, I guess it's two levels to mental health. One, there are some things you're born with, right? People are born different. They inherit things genetically that they cannot change. They can't change immediately without some type of correction. But certain people are just born, may have anxiety, they may have depression. Like I think some of it is just genetic, right? But a lot of the mental health things that we see are I guess enabled, and they're pushed by your surroundings. Your surroundings cause these things, and a lot of
Absolutely.
times, right? And a lot of times, I don't think we understand cause and effect. If it's a job, if it's a person, if it's an environment, if it's there's certain things like that. It's a lot to take on, and we seemingly call people that are saying, "Hey, I have mental health issues," And so when you say you have mental health issues or you're going through things, oh, that's weak. That's a cop out, right? The people, they say, oh, you ain't got that much going on. But it's hard to say. And the numbers are saying that, the suicide rates and things of that nature, it is saying that you're telling the truth. It's saying
Yeah,
that you do have these issues, right?
absolutely.
And getting help for those things is now becoming more and more accepted in our community, right?
Yes.
Because we see it, and we know that there are options out there. So now, you have those people that are, everybody. I don't say everybody. There are so many self-help people out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now it comes down to, what style works for you, and is what helping you, or simply is it simply I'm selling a product. I'm selling a product to help you. You know what I'm saying? I'm selling this to help you. And so all that can happen also. So there's so many different roles, so many different roles to it. People have anxiety, certain behavior and emotional disorders. You got people that are bipolar, you got depression, you got disassociation,
Mm-hmm.
obsessive compulsive disorder. It's
Go
so
ahead, Jay.
many. It's just so many
Mm-hmm.
different lanes. So listen, there's a young lady from Southern, a cheerleader, freshman. She took her own life in the last 24, 36 hours, made a long post on Instagram, and
It's
I'm not sure, what the responses were, or things of that nature. But by the time she wrote this long message to the world,
yeah.
she says shortly after she passed. Uh, it is so many people that they don't they don't know how to reveal how much pain they're in.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to reveal it. And they say, you know what? If I reveal this pain, then I know it's going to be a burden on you. If
Mm-hmm.
I tell you every dark secret I have and how messed up I am in my head, and then they feel like there's no out. They feel like if I tell you and to every darkness I have, then now you're holding some of it. That's what people believe. But you have to tell them, you have to convince them otherwise. Convince them, say, hey, listen, this is the start of the healing process. This is the start of clearing the slate. This is how you start getting out of being so paranoid. And there's so many issues that come along with holding things in.
Yeah. Let me just say here, you talked about a lot of things, and I do want to go back and I want to talk about the stigma. And so in the 80s and 90s, there was a huge stigma. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going because you're going to think I'm crazy if I tell you what's going on. But now, like you said, there's so many people, Steve Harvey, you have TD Jakes, and all of the TV ministers, they're doing mental health segments now. Joel Osteen, everybody is bringing this to the light because we have such a prevalence of depression and completed suicides. So the stigma is starting to break, but we still have a lot more work to do. A lot of times depression and anxiety comes from trying to be strong too long, and then you just the levees break down. And so that's why you need that support system that you was talking about. And that's why we break in the system. I love what you're doing. You gave me a compliment about starting my second career, but what you're doing in with this platform is phenomenal, because this is a platform to say, that I can come in here and I can share with you and say, hey, you know what? There is hope. If you are struggling, it is okay to say something. That is the main thing that people need to know. What we have done so long and what the medical community has done for so long is they've isolated their physical health from mental health and made it look like your brain, oh, you are crazy, you go over here, you're not a part of society. They used to lock people up, like back in the early 1900s. If you had any mental health problem, they would just throw you in the asylum, in a prison, and forget about you. So we have evolved, and the mental health field has evolved a lot, but it's still room for growth. And so this platform is just one more avenue that we can continue to shed light on what's going on. So this is a beautiful thing that you and Kalisha have started up. And what I like about it is it's not just fluff and junk that you're coming on here with. I see you can turn on your internet every single day and you can just see people with 2 pounds of makeup on their face, 6 feet of hair on their weave on their head, fingernails. It's like, what is this doing to help our society? Our society is hurting. Our society is broken, and we need healing. And so when you started putting this platform together, people have a place where they can be real and say, hey, Hello Black Men has a segment about mental health, that we can speak up and we can seek help. We can seek out if we're having suicidal thoughts. If we're having depression, we're going to break the stigma of, having to just shut up and shove it down your throat, shove down your struggles down your throat and not say anything. We've lost too many people and young children. They're experiencing bullying, a lot of pressure on themselves, and because they don't feel comfortable to talk to anybody. So what you're talking about is breaking that stigma is huge in our society, and it's just going to keep on creating the awareness and putting that out there. So you talked about that, and then you talked about what you were talking about how much is what you were talking about when you talked about genetics was how much is nature and how much is nurture. That's been a huge debate since the beginning of psychology and all these theories. So that's what I heard when you said that. Part of it, and both, both play a significant role. What we inherit and our environment. What we see in our environment transpires and it intercepts what we produce. So we learn what we see. If we see parents getting up, going to work, that's what we're going to do. If we see parents doing drugs, we're going to be more prone to doing those things. So nature and nurture, plays a role in our human development and in our psyche. So I just wanted to just piggyback on those two things that you said.
Yeah, and so that lets me know we're talking to the expert, because I didn't know those terms at all. I never looked them up or know what it was. But I know from me being, just observant, that I know some people are born with things. They're born with problems. They're born with issues. They're just, they're different and have to be handled accordingly. And then sometimes it's just trauma. Trauma puts people in places that sometimes they can't come out. Situations and environments and relationships damage people that they're never the same. I've seen drug abuse, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, things of that nature. All that can play a part in your mental health. I know two guys right now three, at least three. I see them that I know who they were, before substance abuse, and I know who they are now, and they're totally different people. Their engagement, their speech, their decision making, and some of that stuff cannot be reversed. It just simply cannot be reversed. Go ahead,
absolutely, you're right.
We have a comment. It says, as someone who lives with a mental health disorder, sometimes the help we receive isn't help at all, and the guilt of reaching out to others is absolutely real because we are bombarded with it. It can't be that bad, or trouble don't last always. It's that simple. Those are church terms. Those are things that we learn within the Christianity religion. Like, trouble don't last always. Take it to the Lord. He can fix it for you. Janiyah and I both have been through therapy, and we talked today a little bit about therapy. I will never sit here before people because I am transparent. I am the type of person that I do tell Jamie everything. And I'm sorry, babe, if you're carrying the weight of everything that I tell you, because I didn't know you was carrying everything that I was telling you. If I need to stop telling you everything, I'll stop telling you everything. Because I just feel like if I just empty myself some days, I feel better. Like, I've been suicidal. I felt like the only way out was death. Like why would I continue this life? Like, I've been divorced, I've been at the bottom, I've not known where I was going to feed my children. It's been hard. Like, life has not been easy. Getting married at 17 years old, that's already a start to an end. Like, it's already problematic from the beginning. So it's just like when we go to therapy, because I went to therapy with Janiyah, we both we're therapized. That's my own personal word. That's probably not a real word. But she feels like, and she has told me this, that the therapist was on my side. And I'm like, I don't think the therapist was on my side. I think that the things that you were doing were not appropriate. So she was trying to help you find a more appropriate way to express yourself. And I feel like she would be one of those people who feel like therapy didn't help her because the therapist wasn't on her side. And, Jamie, the last time we talked, you said, if the therapist tells Janiyah that everything she does is right and she never gets what she wants, is that going to help her? And that's where my problem comes with people saying mental health, get therapy. I'm not saying that therapy doesn't work. I'm saying that everybody cannot be therapized the same way.
Absolutely.
If talking to somebody works for you, that doesn't mean it's going to work for me. Therapy for me may be journaling. Therapy for me may be running. Therapy for you may be, helping other people. It's different ways to be therapized. We're going to have to look that word up because I feel like it's a word.
Yeah. I hear a lot of my, clients love that word, they feel like, hey,
Everybody
Yeah.
learns, everybody is different. Just the same way that everybody learns different. You may be a visual learner. Jamie may be a verbal learner. Therapy, I think, works the same way. So if you haven't been through a lot of the things that people have been through, you may not be able to relate the same way. And I'm gonna tell you something else I don't like. Therapy is not easy to come by. It's not like you can walk into an office and say, hey, I feel like I'm finna kill everybody around me, and people are gonna be like, I work in medical care. Like it doesn't work like that. Like it is not something that is affordable all the time. There are people who can't get it because they can't afford it. It's not something that you can just go on the internet and say, hey, I need help. Yeah, you can call a suicide hotline, but are you going to get somebody instantly that's going to instantly help you? No, you're going to have to go through prompt after prompt after prompt.
Yes, I am so glad you brought that point up. And there are a lot of barriers out there, like you say, income, trying to find, start with the community, what's in the community first. It's not easy navigating all of the medical, the HMOs and all of that stuff. It gets chaotic. I'm blessed because I have my military insurance, and but everybody don't have that, and they do have to use community resources, and start with the local health department and just Region 8, whatever is in your local community. That's where you start. But trying to find somebody that's gonna get you, I'm telling you, I've been to therapy too, and I've had therapists that when the lady made that comment that our help is not good help, some therapists are in it for the money, and they're not in it for the client. Unfortunately, as with you have good therapists, bad therapists, you have good doctors, you have doctors with good good professional mannerisms, and then you have some that just treat you like you a piece of crap when you walk in the door. It's like in and out, just try to shove you out. Yep, shove you in and shove you out.
And that's just not mental health. That's medical health as well. I walked into the doctor's office with a blood pressure of 170 over 110, and they was like, "Oh, you got white coat syndrome." White coat syndrome is a little elevated. I'm darn near stroke blood pressure, and you just no worries. Like, you have to be very conscientious of what you're dealing with every day, not just mentally but medically as well. So I can say that very much so, because I have been through both avenues of the system. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's good. So what we want people to take from this is, a good place to start is your doctor. You can if you go to the doctor and just say you're reporting that you're having fatigue, chronic fatigue or whatever, and then you can ask your doctor, hey, I think I might have something going on. I think I'm having these symptoms. Your doctor should be able to point you into a direction of who you can see. They should be able to make a referral. So when Facebook, Hello Black Men, when y'all go to the doctor, if you're having any symptoms you're concerned about, just bring it up to your doctor. Go to your local community center and start there. Like I say, it is sometimes, it's nerve-wracking, but trying to, navigate all this, but, we got to make a start. And I promise you, if you put something on this website that you're trying to get help, I will sit down and I will start Googling and researching. So yeah, Kalisha will too. Me and her, we're all about researching and looking up stuff, trying to help people.
And look, as you say that, I want to bring things back to a transparent situation, because I have been in a family. My father suffered from prescription drug abuse. I don't know if he wants me to tell his business out here, but he went through rehab. He had a lot going on, and I had an ex who did the same, but he didn't necessarily go through rehab. He just kind of worked things out by himself. I have myself suffered from alcoholism. I have drank sometimes to the point where there's no cap and I don't know my cap. So it's like, okay, I'll have one drink. Oh, I'm gonna have two drinks. Oh, I'm gonna have three drinks. Okay, I'm down on the floor. Like, it's like, and that is a sign of, to me, a mental health issue. Like when you don't know where your cap is, you may need to seek help. And with that being the case, what you said about talking to your doctor, I don't care what it is. If you feel like it's something that is debilitating or something that's prohibiting you from progressing in life or just being healthy, because alcohol is not healthy for you.
No.
Ask for help, and I've sought help. I'm like, hey, listen, I realize that I may have a problem. It may not even be a problem, but to me,
but you need to know. You need to get in there.
I want to know. Like, I used to drink once every 3 months. Now I'm drinking once every 3 days or once or 3 times a day. Like, I need to know like what the problem is. Can you talk to me? Can you express it? Never be afraid to talk to somebody about what you're going through, and especially your healthcare provider, because they are bound under HIPAA laws to not tell your business. So if you're going to go to somebody, go to your doctor first, talk to them, tell them what you got going on, and see if they can help you, because that's your first avenue to helping yourself be a better person. So that was just me. And if you smoke marijuana every day, you may have depression. I'm just saying. I know people like that feeling of being high, but why are you wanting to be high, and why is your life not that high? Because I can tell you, days sometimes when Jamie and I spend together, when I don't have alcohol, I get that same alcohol high. And that lets me know that I don't need it. But when he's not around, sometimes I feel like, all right, I need that high. So I'm going to drink this alcohol so I can get to that high. So, if you're not having those moments in your everyday life, you may need just a little bit of extra help to get you to where you need to be.
Absolutely. That's very well said. I mean, any type of issue, whatever it is, your family doctor should be able to make a referral, and if it is, if they because most of the time when you go to the doctor, they're going to give you this checklist and say, do you feel safe at home? They're trying to capture all this stuff now. And so if the answer is no, answer that stuff truthfully, because now, there's help out here. Now you can text, there's a mental health, text talk website. I'm gonna have to look it up and get it next time we come on. But and then there's a lot of apps that you can get. So there's a lot more resources that's available. I cannot remember, and I learned this from my kids, that you can you can text it, like there's a hotline that you can text on. But I'll get more information about that. But you gotta say something, because if you don't, you will be like sitting in a dark hole, and and you'll continue to go down. And depression is not, there's so many topics that we can talk about, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, substance addiction. There's just so much out there, and there's so many things that people are struggling with, and we don't have to struggle with that. And then not only that, not only adults, like you said at the beginning of the show, Kalisha, our teenagers are, starting to struggle with things too. So I just want everybody to know that you come on, you call me, or you text me, or if I see a post on Facebook that don't sound right, you know what, I'm going to be responding saying, hey, is everything okay? Because I don't want people, if I see somebody like really, especially a younger person in my family that's just typing something, I may not call, because younger folks are into texting, but I'm gonna, text and say, hey, I'm gonna respond to that. I'm not gonna just say LOL or like or whatever. I'm gonna respond to concerning things.
Right. We have another comment here from the same young lady. She says, and if your provider doesn't listen to your concerns, we need to understand we can replace them. I replaced my psychiatrist because he said I was the drama queen. It's okay to replace your provider.
Yes, it is.
Again, Jackie is in mental health. I am in medical health. And that goes for not just mental, but medical as well. If you don't see the results that you feel, listen to your body. It tells you what you need all the time. It's going to say, hey, we're not doing well. This pain is not what it needs to be. We need to get somewhere and do something. And that's why, like, when I have anxiety as bad as I do, like, Jamie will ask me a million times, do you need to go somewhere? Do you need to go somewhere? Do you need to go somewhere? And I'm like, at some point when I know I can't control it, I'm like, yes, I need to go somewhere. It's too far down. I have to get somewhere because I cannot control it after a certain amount of hours. But I feel like you had something to say, babe. Go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, let me. Oh, Jamie.
No, you can. If you have something to say, you can go ahead.
Miss Ursula, when she said that, Miss Ursula, you were. I'm so glad you're making these comments, and that's very valid. If you're a psychologist, you're a psychiatrist, if they're not listening to you, yes, you can. You know what? Keep going. Do not stop, because it's disheartening. Like I said at the beginning, every professional is not professional. Every person sitting on the other side of that desk, unfortunately, is not professional. You have to have a calling. When we get into these medical and mental health fields, it really helps if we have a calling, because what we're supposed to do as professionals is put ourselves in that person's shoes on the other side of the desk. And if they're not able to do that, then we've got to we've got to advocate for ourselves and say, hey, this isn't working. I want a second opinion right here. And so you are 1000% correct in that. We're going to we're going to get a referral. We're going to go and try to talk to somebody else, because, when we're doing ourselves a disservice by maintaining a medical or professional relationship with somebody that's not helpful. Yeah. And did she say that the doctor told her she was a drama queen?
That's what she said, girl.
Yeah. See, that's just not some people are not, and I hate that. I'm sure, Kalisha, like, there's nurses and, that you see people in your field that, just don't, that maybe their motivation may not be what it needs to be. And that's very disheartening. Some people need to change career fields, and that's unfortunate. But, there are professionals that really care about their job and that will do everything they can do. So if you're not getting the help you need, definitely, go to go get a second opinion.
Indeed. Second opinions are always great. So we've been on here for 42 minutes, Jackie. We don't want to hold you all night, as I said earlier. I know what you told me. I ain't gonna tell the people what you told me about staying on here all night. But we're gonna let you go, and we definitely want to get you on for a few more shows. Before you go, though, I do want to share some of the things that you sent to me, and we can kind of touch on them briefly. Two of the things that really touched me was, we need to change the culture of this topic and make it okay to speak about mental health and suicide. I know, like I said, like I have experienced, yes, I have thought about getting out of here. What is here for me? Like, I can't feed my children. I can't live this life. I can't support my family. I wanted to go. So, like, I know, like, there are sometimes when I'm driving along the road and I'm like, that's a nice body of water. I wonder if I can make it out. Like, people have those thoughts. Like, if you don't have those thoughts, okay, lucky you.
There are very blessed. Yes, be thankful.
Exactly. Yes. There are us out here that
you never had to deal with that.
There's an 18-wheeler. I might swerve in front of it. Like, if y'all judging me, forget y'all. I'm just letting y'all know that there are people out here who have these feelings, who have these ideations. And yes, we need help. Yes, we need to seek help. But also, we are human. Like, we are people, and we are people just like everybody else. So, do what you have to do to get through every day. Find the silver lining. That's what I used to say all the time when I was younger. Find the silver lining. And as Akira sung in the song earlier when we first opened, what you're going to do when your back's against the wall. Just hang on in there. Just hang on in there. I promise you, what the church folks say. I need y'all to say it all in accordance. Trouble don't last always.
Trouble don't last always. Yes.
Don't last always. I promise you, better days are on the horizon. Okay, so Jamie, I'm sorry. We've been kind of bulldogging the conversation. What you got to say?
Listen. So I guess to kind of summarize everything you all have said. One is to encourage people to seek help. Encourage, not threaten, not antagonize. Like, you can't be part of the problem and the solution at the same time, right? So you have to understand that certain people are encouraged in certain ways. One, communication, right? Know who you're talking to, know your audience. Well, one thing one of my buddy Champ used to always say playing basketball, know your personnel, right? He said, I'm not gonna throw you no pass going full speed cutting to the basket, Jamie, because you're not gonna catch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, know who you're working with, and that comes with communication, right? So you encourage the person if you want them to seek help, appropriate treatment for their issue, right? You don't want to get somebody that had a bad day. You don't want to get them locked up for the next 10 years. It needs to be appropriate based on the situation that they're going through. And don't be afraid to bring it up, right? And it's all about timeliness, right? When to bring it up. Hey, we're alone. Hey, I just called check on you. I hadn't talked to you in a while. What's been going on? I saw you post something a little different. What's been up with you, Doc? And so just know how to bring stuff up. I've made posts before, and people are like, "Are you okay?" It could be something from a song or something. Just something I posted, but it wasn't normal, right? So you have to know the normal in the people that you're around. And then that way when something's not normal. Mm-hmm. When somebody is not in a right frame of mind, or they're in a different state of mind. Mm-hmm. And then it can't be about blaming them, right? The condition that they're in, they're not asking for this condition. I assure you, right? Mm-hmm. You can't go around and say, hey, this is your fault. You act like this because you did it. Like that's not helping at all, right? It's not helping at all. Right. And then with somebody with any kind of mental health, and like for me personally, I know being patient. It's going to take some patience.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, I know. Not just me. It's all about being patient, right? Because once a person is irritated with anything, they're much less receptive. Right. So it's about being patient. And then when you are dealing with a person that is, doing these type of, behaviors and things of that nature, one, you have to be mindful of be mindful, where you stand and ensure that that you're doing the best, right? Doing your best by that person. Your intentions are well placed. Mm-hmm. I've had two people I went to school with. A young lady, maybe 6 months ago, something like that, baby. And a guy maybe a year and a half ago. Both called. Young lady called, and she just telling me the thing she was going to say. I don't want no money. I'm not calling for no money and nothing like that. She says, but I just want to tell you thank you, right? And I'm like for what? She's like, I went through X amount of things, and you never talk down to me. And I know we, want BFF and stuff like that. She says, but, I just look up to you based on how you treated me 25 years ago. You never know how much impact you have on people just being a good person. She's like, hey, listen, you never, said X, Y, Z. I never heard you do these things, and like it just meant the word to me. I just want to say thank you. And I think about that as she's going through things now, and she's pulling inspiration from 1997. And that just goes to show you how much of an impact people have on each other's mental health, right? The guy going through relationship issues, divorce and stuff like that. And then it was just so crazy because I could squarely relate to the things he was going through. and just say, hey man, place your mental health in a space to where you're not agitated and angry every single day. And I promise you, it'll work out. I promise you, you'll be in a better place if you're not bombarding yourself with misery and pain and antagonizing yourself. Like for me, most of my mental strains are internalized, right? Nothing most people can say are going to beat me up the way I beat myself up. Um, it can get very unhealthy very fast. And you can question every single decision you've ever made. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I go to practice earlier? Why didn't I work on this when I was 16 years old? Why did I didn't, do this? I should have done that. Like that will literally run a person crazy. It will really take over your mind if you let every single thought think about, if I'd have done this in 1988, if I'd done this in 1992, I should have done this. I should have went here. I should have stayed this. Instead of accepting where you are, and believing that you can improve your life on a daily basis and have people around you that care for you and that are a part of, a part of the solution. So that's just kind of my take on it. And like I said, I want this platform to be a place to where people are positive and people are bringing forth transparent and true, communication of their ability, just improving it. And one, what we believe is writing it down. If you have a good day, if you have a bad day, if you have a good day, if you have a bad day, how are you recording this stuff? How are you taking 5-10 minutes out of your day and saying, hey, this is kind of what I went through today, and being able to go back and see it and go back and say, hey, I thought I had a bad day last Thursday, and just looking back over it, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought. And people will be able to see, the patterns and see, hey, I know what a bad day is, and that wasn't a bad day. It just wasn't a great day. And you can kind of have a litmus test of where you stand. Suicide rates are probably more significant than you think. We talked about high school students in Black or African American, the community itself. Past year, suicidal thoughts and behaviors for high school youth, 17%. Like, do you understand that is 1 in 5 students are having suicidal thoughts? 1 in 5 are having suicidal thoughts. 15% are making a plan. Like they have a plan internalized what they're going to do, and a slight 12% have attempted a suicide. 12% of African American teens have attempted a suicide. You see 10 kids, every single day, and 1 in 10 have attempted a suicide. So these numbers are alarming. This is 2021 data. And it's just, we have to communicate with these kids on what's okay and what's not okay. You know what I'm saying? Not as far as suicide, but on how they can trust us with their information, and us not be so judgmental on every single error that they make and things of that nature. So like all that plays a huge role into it,
we got about 6 minutes before it's time to wrap up, because we like to stay under an hour. And before we wrap up, I want to make sure that we are keeping this platform transparency. So I have a question to ask the two of you. You both got 3 minutes apiece to express yourself. Today only, what is something that you had difficulty with that you overcame?
Today and today only. I've been having difficulty with being fatigued lately, and I'm in a transition career-wise, so that may have something to do with it. So I have in the way that I overcame it, and actually, the way that I overcame it was I made myself get up and take a shower, because sometimes it's hard to. So I made myself get up and take a shower and take a walk. And so, and I got moving. So, you never say, I went for a walk. But it was hard. So I'm dealing, so fatigue was my big thing that I worked through today. And I overcame that by walking. It was hard, but I did. And I wanted to do more, but I didn't do as much as I want to, but I did something.
Good job, sis. Getting up and taking a shower, that's step number one. Because I promise I'm the same way some days. And when you live with somebody and you see that their patterns change, it's always a good idea to say, hey, what's going on today? It's never a bad idea to check in. No matter how mad they may be with you, check in with those people who you live with and see pattern changes.
For me, I would say it's more geared toward this anxiety. Especially with my oldest, Alana. So she has prom coming up, and she has graduation coming up, and I just feel like the communication that we have on those two events is not as clear as I would want them to be. And so as a father, that wants to show, consistent improvement on being there, even if I'm not physically there, it rattles your cage. It rattles my cage a lot, knowing that how it could be perceived, right? Is she taking, my comments and my questions with good intentions? And that's where they're coming from. They're coming from a great place, but having anxiety, you don't know how people take things, right? You know how you're saying them, but you don't know how people take things. So that's kind of what I worked through today, and I will say that it's a work in progress.
And I will, and let me just say this, and I promise I'll make it really, really quick. You cannot go wrong if you say, I hear you and I understand you. That's what they want to know. They want to be heard, seen, and valued. So even in the midst of all that, it's real to her. And so you let her know, I hear you, I see you, and I value you. And you cannot go wrong if you do those things.
Facts. We're going to end with this quote that Jackie said that says, depression, anxiety, and panic attacks are not signs of weakness. They are signs of trying to remain strong for far too long. Let's share support for mental health awareness and show those who are suffering that they are not alone. Remember, 1 in 3 of us will suffer with these at some point in our lives. And we'll need love and support. And 1 in 3 of all of us are suffering with some type of anxiety and we need support all the time. So if you're out there, you're watching and you know us, you see us, like just because we're out here smiling and you think we're living the best life, check in with us. Check in with us day to day. See how we're doing. See what's going on. See how you can be beneficial to us. And we will return the favor. I promise you that. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this mental health awareness. It has meant the world to me because I suffer. I suffer and I'm surrounded by people who suffer. So let's keep everybody motivated. We will see you guys again. We're going to bring Jackie back as often as possible because she is a professional in this area. So we want her to be present. We want her to be active. And we want her to be able to answer your questions if you have questions. So love you guys. Have a great night.
Love you all. Good night. Okay. Bye-bye.
What you gonna do when it's accidents do it? What you gonna call when the things walk the floor? What you gonna do when you lose more days? What you gonna smile when they try to close to your face?